Good morning, everybody. So this month I'm going to talk about everything that's 50, as both the IAB and myself turned 50 this year. So does the VAT, which was introduced replacing purchase tax and is the third largest government revenue after income tax and national insurance. On the 1st of January 1973, the UK also entered the EEC, which is now the EU. And after Brexit, I think we're still in the EU, we're just not part of it anymore. I'm not really sure. Anyway, moving on. Also in 1973, the Open University awarded its very first degree, and women were admitted as full members of the London Stock Exchange. Commercial radio was started with LBC, and British rule ended in the Bahamas, and Concorde made its very first transatlantic flight. Also, the average pay for male workers was £38.10 per week. And equality being what it was in 1973, women earned £19.70 a week. The best-selling car was the Ford Cortina Mark III, which remarkably cost £1,075. A few more facts: 93% of British households had a television, 78% had a fridge, 67% had a washing machine, and only 43% had a telephone. During the year, inflation tripled from 3.4% to 9.6%. I think we're in a 50-year cycle. And the year finished with a 3-day week in an effort to reduce power consumption, as the government feared coal miners may strike in the new year. And I have a feeling they did throughout the 70s. That's what I've got this month. So I'm now looking for Kevin Hartlett. Are you in yet, Kevin?
I am. I've been in since 11 o'clock. I'm here on my screen. I'm next to you.
Are you?
Yes.
Excellent. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning to you.
Kevin Hartlett is the director from Pecunia. Pecunia is the UK's #1 organic cash flow and credit management specialist, and it's in the process of becoming an IAB member benefit, which will entitle IAB members to discounted services. And Kevin will be talking to us this morning about credit control post-pandemic, the impact of the cost of living crisis, and key things to look out for from an insolvency perspective. Over to you, Kevin, if I may.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted that we've got a really huge audience. I don't think I've ever had 150 on a virtual platform before, so it's a first for me. And as somebody else just said now, when you're reading out all those things that happened in 1973, sadly, I remember most of those as well. So, but great stuff. Is it possible to share the screen?
Yeah. Try it now, it should let you.
It says disabled at the moment.
Right, try it again.
Okay. Okay, hopefully
I can see your screen.
You can now. Hopefully everybody else can. So wonderful. So yes, as Caroline just said, just want to talk a bit about credit control, the importance, and obviously touch upon some of these key, I suppose in some ways it's red flags, but also I've got some statistics which I've pulled from recent reports, which are a bit scary, but really they're things that we should be aware of rather than be stressing out about. I've been in credit control for many years. I'm being polite to myself here by saying just over 35 years. I've worked in credit control ever since leaving school, not a career choice, but once I was in that situation, then I've just grown to love it. Being a credit manager and set up my own business initially in 2010 and a new business in 2016. My main mission, the main reason for setting up Pecunia was that previously I'd been working for a large firm of accountants, one of the top 5, and working quite closely with the insolvency team. And we'd seen a lot of insolvencies come across the desk as the IPs, and you think to yourself, some of the cases that we saw, if only they'd been able to do something about their cash flow and their credit management, I reckon that fairly high percentage could have been saved. There were always some basket cases which were never destined to be successful, perhaps. But I just think that if they had have concentrated more on their business administration, cash flow, rather than just maybe the product or service that they may have invented or discovered, they would have survived and maybe even gone on to be very, very profitable. So really it's focusing on the front end of credit control. So knowing who you're giving credit to and basically controlling the credit that you do allow. So whether it's for your own businesses as bookkeepers or accountants, or whether it's for your clients, I certainly would urge you to maybe talk to your clients and maybe look at their, and perhaps you do this already. Please forgive me if I'm being presumptuous here, but I've worked with some small SMEs who do have bookkeepers that come in once a month. And one or two of them said, yeah, our bookkeeper talks about the ledgers, the debtors, the accounts, which is fantastic. And one or two have also said, no, they just come in and do the compliance stuff and that's it. So again, it depends, I guess, on the business and maybe the service and the fees that are payable. But these things are key. As no doubt you know, most businesses fail because of lack of cash flow rather than lack of profit. So I just want to make sure that we understand what credit control is. It's a very unsexy 2 words, very difficult sometimes when we go networking to say, oh, what do you do? So we talk about credit control and cash flow, and suddenly they look at their watch and say, right, I'm off now. But it is important, absolutely. I want to also talk about how credit control and cash flow has been impacted by the pandemic. It's still living with us, the impact that is. And of course, the pandemic has not gone away either, but thankfully we have the vaccines. But obviously there are many other factors, so I can't exclude those as well. And then really some tips on how we can try to minimize the risks for our own businesses, and also, very importantly, for the risk, minimizing the risks for our clients. Because the key thing is to make sure that we do maximize our collections, which will in turn hopefully maximize our profits. When I first came into credit control, it was very much seen as a back office function, not very important. The salespeople thought we were preventing sales business because we wanted people to pay on time, and if they didn't, we'd take them to court. It wasn't quite like that, of course. And if somebody applied for credit and we found out, or from reports that we were obtaining, discovered that they weren't creditworthy, then we didn't give them credit. So they called us sales prevention. So they thought all we did was chase debts and stop sales. And literally we were shoved to the back of the office. But if you think about this with any business, no matter how large and how small, the credit department or the credit controller, I mean, that person for the small company may only be somebody who does this job maybe once or twice a week, part-time basis. I fully understand that, but it's the only area that is collecting money for the business. Every other aspect, every other department within any organization is spending money. And obviously, as you know, with your own household budgets, you've got to have more coming in each month than is going out. It's pretty obvious. But giving credit is a great tool. We all know that we can't buy a car or a house unless you're extremely fortunate, without having a mortgage or a loan of some sort. And it's the same with our businesses. We can't sell enough if we expected everyone to pay cash on delivery or cash up front. We need to extend credit, buy now, pay later basis. And believe it or not, that will, if the credit control is monitored, it will increase your sales. You do need to undertake some due diligence. If you or your clients don't think you have enough customers to maybe warrant having an account with, say, a reference agency, there are still plenty of public areas that you can search to get some indication about the creditworthiness of your customer, whether they be an individual, sole trader, partnership, limited company, or so on. But it is important that you do undertake some form of due diligence and hopefully a credit check. Just give you a quick example. About a year ago, I got a call from a company out of the blue, says, Kevin, can you help me? I'm having trouble getting paid by one of my customers. I said, okay, I don't do debt collection, but I'll help you with this. But at the same time, we'll go back and find out what's gone wrong. And what it was is that they'd taken a phone call, bearing in mind, this is 12 months ago, they'd taken a phone call for a delivery of 4 pallets of, I think it was like some fruit juice, sort of invention, health drink. All they got was a mobile telephone number and a delivery address, which was a warehouse in southeast London. About £3,500 worth of goods, and of course nobody answered the phone. Nobody answered. There was no name of any company, no name of any buyer, and of course not only did they lose the goods, but they didn't even get their £3,500 back either. So we spent some time with them, going through what they should have done to actually know who they were selling to. You need to know legally who you are selling to, because if it all goes wrong, who do you go after? Who is liable for the debt? And as I said, once you've got a credit customer, build a relationship. I'll talk about that later. Keep on top of them. It will boost sales. It is much easier to sell more to an existing customer than it is to lose a customer and try to replace them with others. It is more cost effective. Unbelievably, it will boost sales. And hopefully then obviously higher profits. But as I said here, it will only happen if you carefully control and monitor the credit being given to customers. So whatever the payment terms are, make sure they stick to that. Be proactive, call the customer before the payment's due. And all too often I find across the UK, different businesses, people say, yeah, but I don't want to phone up, I don't want to upset the customer. But you're not asking for anything more than you've agreed. You provided your part of the contract, which was the service or the products, and all we're asking them to do is to honor their part of the contract to pay you on time. So, you know, why should that upset them? Most customers will pay those who, first of all, they'll pay their critical suppliers, such as utilities, of course, but of course they'll then only pay those who call. I've helped customers out over the years, and I've even started doing some credit control for them because we take on outsourced work. And I say, hi, I'm representing so-and-so here. After payment of this invoice, can you tell me why it's not been paid? It's 3 months old. And they just say, well, no one's asked us for the payment. So it's critical. I know it sounds obvious, but believe you me, when you see some of the statistics shortly, it will really highlight this effect. As I said, we have to have cash in the business. We've got to get paid. We've got to pay our suppliers. We've got to pay our employees, of course. We may have commitments to a lender, a funder, a bank. And as I said, when you look at the insolvency figures, most of it is purely because of lack of cash flow. They can't pay their commitments as and when they fall due. And therefore, insolvency is often the final route. And this is why robust credit control processes are so important. One of the things that I impress upon here as well, this is, I would say this is before the pandemic, but even more so since the pandemic, to be honest, is that you can't give the job to somebody to ring up and ask for payment unless they've got the confidence and the skill set to be able to do that, because customers will soon tell by the tone of your voice whether there's a bit of a weakness, a bit of trepidation from your part or your client's part, and they'll run rings around you. They'll come back, oh yeah, I'll sort the payment out next week. Yeah, tell Fred I'll pay you next week. And that doesn't really get you anywhere. You need people who can back in a professional manner, not in a sarcastic manner, but back excuses. And we spend a lot of time with customers how to deal with responses. But proper processes about knowing who to take on, are they credit worthy, keeping on top of the ledgers, and also building relationships, which I'm going to talk about as well. So as you said, it's post the pandemic. We've always had the problem with late payments. It's not new since the COVID, but COVID saw this situation soar to the highest it's ever been. I did a lot of work during the pandemic with a national food and beverage company who supplied restaurants, also hospitals and schools, and they had terrible problems, as you can probably imagine. They had 50 people in their credit control team, and none of them had the training or the authority or the confidence to actually negotiate, for example, repayment plans or this sort of stuff. And they had to have specialist teams in, and I spent a lot of time working with them, building up a process, because otherwise that food and beverage company could have been in serious financial trouble. I've got some figures here that I picked up. The FSB, I'm not sure if any of you are members of the FSB, but late payments have even worsened since the end of 2022. And if you look here, CreditSafe reported this week that in May, 2,454 companies became insolvent. That's an increase of 21% of May last year. So that's a fifth, which is quite scary figures. And it's to do, as I said, primarily with lack of cash flow. 52% of small businesses experienced late payments throughout 2022. Now, technically, this is maybe 12 months or so after the pandemic, and it hasn't really got any better. Grant Shapps spoke in December 2022, and you can find this on the gov.uk website. But this is a staggering figure, £23.4 billion currently owed in outstanding invoices to UK businesses. And also the ICAEW, again, some of you may be members of that as well, but late payments cost small businesses owners £684 million a year. Many businesses are on fine margins, fine deadlines, commitments to suppliers, to lenders, to staff. Obviously, you've got to pay all these people overheads. And without the cash, it's very, very difficult. So, yes, we've had certainly the pandemic has been a problem. It still exists. And one of the key things here was about building relationships. You need to build relationships with your customers, with your suppliers, with your lenders, basically with any stakeholder in the business, both external or internal. Because believe you me, if you open up to them and tell them the problems, look, if you don't pay me, we could be in trouble. Look what we've done for you over the years. You need to do that. And it's amazing. It's a bit like the old adage here of a problem shared is a problem halved. And people will actually respond. And you can maybe work out some deals with your suppliers. You can work out some deals with your banks or your lenders for time to pay. It's not all one way. It's not all just you maybe allowing some extra time for your clients to pay. So always make sure that you do that. But of course, we've had this problem as well, cost of living crisis. Of course, it's hitting sole traders, it's hitting partnerships, it's hitting households, most certainly. And many of you may well be sole traders. So you know what it's like. Inflation, energy prices, the food inflation is at shocking levels of something like 18.7%. We can't avoid Brexit. I'm not going to talk about Brexit, but we know, certainly if anyone here has any clients, or even yourselves, if you work overseas, or any clients overseas, we have one or two. It's been extremely difficult with all sorts of red tape and bureaucracy and delays. Another FSB figure here is that people have also said it's more difficult now to get funding. Now, in the COVID, the government did a very good job with the grants for some businesses. Some of you may have been fortunate. There were certainly the bounce back loans. But of course, now one of the problems here post the pandemic is that the government now and HMRC are now hotter now in trying to collect these loans. And of course, this also is leading to financial constraints for many businesses.
Can I interrupt there, Kevin? Can we just wind it on a bit, please? I'm really sorry, but we're pushed a little bit this morning for time.
Okay,
and
no problem.
I'm just aware of what time it is, and I've got 2 more speakers, I'm afraid.
No problem, Caroline. So yeah, these are the other issues here. So these are the key things that we should be looking at now. We're almost at the end now, Caroline. Most important now that you have your cash flow forecasting. Okay, know exactly how much you're owed, by who, and when it's due. Talk about building relationships. You might need to adapt to your own customers' needs of hybrid working. Know when they're in the office, know when they're at home. Be more conservative with regards to the clients you give credit to, and be much stricter with your payment terms. And the key thing is here, be patient about not expanding too quickly at the moment. And also find out if you've got any inefficiencies in the business. Always try to have a plan B as well. And most of all, ensure credit control is elevated to the status it deserves. So in summary, it's not an easy job, become harder since the pandemic. You do need skill sets and confidence to deal with this. And these are the various roles that a credit control manager or credit controller has to deal with, which makes the job so fascinating. So they must have the right attitude and skill set. If you have any questions, I'm sure Carolyn will field these at some point. I don't know whether it's going to be afterwards or via chat.
Well, in the chat at the moment, Kevin, I've got Peter who says, I'm also a barrister who writes articles on various aspects of law from time to time in the Institute of Credit Managers Journal, Credit Management. So you probably recognise his name. Diane says, old saying goes, a sale isn't a sale until it's actually been paid for. And
yeah, exactly.
Hillary says, I recovered £90,000 sorting out a payment plan with one of our customers. So well done, Hillary.
Yeah, brilliant. That's brilliant to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really, really important aspect of business at the moment, especially when cash is king. So
absolutely, cash is king, Sarah. Yeah, I'm sorry to run over there, Caroline. So anyway, there is
it's fine. Sorry to interrupt you.
We do have a 1-hour consultation free for you or any of your clients. Details will be on, there's emails and telephone numbers here. This will all be shared with you at the end of it all anyway. Yes. So, okay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions come up, I'll come back to you.
Great stuff. Thanks very much.
Right. Thank you, Kevin. Very informative. So I'm going to swiftly move on to Matthew Chapman. Are you there, Matthew? You should be. I saw you earlier.
I am hiding in the background. Hello.
Hello. Some regulars of the Coffee Morning may recognise Matthew from Company Protection. He is, or his company is, an IAB member benefit, and Matthew's no stranger to our Coffee Mornings because he was on last year. And he's also sponsoring this year's Bookkeeper of the Year category, and Matthew was involved in the judging. So Company Protection help protect businesses from their biggest financial threat, the loss of key personnel. And Matthew will be talking to us this morning about how you can use employee benefits to cut tax and retain good staff. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. What an exciting subject matter, eh? Only joking. No, thank you so much.
Everybody loves insurance.
Yeah, don't they all? Yeah, everyone loves insurance. I think everyone gets up in the morning and thinks, I know what I want to do today? Take out some insurance. So no, I appreciate I've got to climb uphill, but hopefully I'll make it engaging and interesting. So thanks for having me on again. I really appreciate it. Right, I'm just going to share my screen with you. I'm assuming everyone can see that screen.
Yes,
hopefully all going well. Perfect, brilliant. Well, listen, thank you again so much. I will get through this pretty quickly, hopefully. I'll try not to take too much time, but ultimately this is what we're talking about. It's about using employee benefits to cut tax and retain good staff. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you will have come across problems in the past where you've heard your clients saying, well, I prefer to cut my tax bill. You know, they're probably lumped with a big corporate tax bill, and who doesn't want to pay less tax? Well, let's be honest, everyone on the planet would like to pay less tax because there's only two sure things in life, death and taxes, and I certainly want to pay as little as I can. Long story short, we also know that right now it's very hard retaining staff, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but it's a clear problem for business owners finding, attracting and retaining the best talent available, because That is ultimately what helps your clients grow. That's what helps keep them in business. Personnel are the most important thing in any business. Now, I'm not going to get to the details of who I am, because I think we've made that very clear, and I don't want to take up any more time than we need to. So let's just move on. Right. So in terms of what we do, we're just specialist insurance brokers. It's really simple. All we do is we just basically help make your clients' businesses and their people even more financially resilient. So we support yourselves and we help your clients succeed and grow by putting the plans in place to make sure that when things go wrong, because they inevitably do, they have the right kind of financial protection in place. Now, the good thing is that a lot of what we do, we can use as clever, cost-effective, tax-efficient types of insurances that will obviously help you guys add value when you're speaking to your customers, because not only are you helping them solve a problem, but hopefully helping them achieve a double whammy, which is cut their tax bill as well. So let's move on to what we're going to be talking about, which is these ones here, employee benefits. Interesting. So we're going to be looking at the kind of range of employee benefits that you can potentially recommend or suggest to your clients as a way of helping them avoid the risks and the costs associated with them losing their staff. So what is the purpose of this very quick webinar that I'm doing today? Well, quite simply, the session is designed to help you understand how you can add value to your clients, to your services, and help them by offering these simple, cost-effective and tax-efficient ways of attracting and retaining staff. Now, many businesses don't even realize that they can do this, but they are also deeply concerned about losing staff. They just don't understand that you can use insurances as a potential employee benefit to help attract and retain those people and to stop them leaving to go and join the competition, which is a big concern for lots of business owners. But best of all, the plans I'm talking about today are usually an allowable expense, meaning you can help them overcome this concern whilst helping to reduce that corporate tax bill that we talked about. So what's the big deal? Well, a bit like what Kevin was saying in his previous presentation, in a post-COVID world, things have changed. Right? Employers are deeply concerned about being able to attract, retain, and keep their staff. And that's what's needed to help them grow and achieve their financial goals. Now, employees are far more empowered and more demanding of their employees than they ever were before, post-COVID. And employees are far more aware of their own financial vulnerability than ever, with the cost of living crisis, rising energy costs, war in Ukraine, and everything being a real problem right now, rising interest rates and everything else. Employees are very aware, acutely aware of their own financial vulnerability. Employees are becoming ever more transient and changing jobs more frequently, something that we didn't experience, say, 50 years ago, like Caroline was saying at the beginning. Back then it was a job for life, wasn't it? But these days, employees are far more transient. They're looking to move between businesses to find the right kind of occupations for themselves. And employees, believe it or not, actually look to their employers for help and support with financial matters. It's a little known fact. You wouldn't think they do, but ironically they do. And as I get to later, more than half of employees actually do that. So businesses need their workforce stable in order to succeed and grow. And ultimately, employers then need to think about creative ways to try and attract and retain the right talent. Now, I have no doubt on this call, somebody or everyone has got clients who struggle in this area. You must have come across clients in your meetings that said, oh God, I keep taking on staff, I keep losing staff. I mean, one of the hardest things we've ever had in our own business is attracting and keeping the best talent. In fact, if you speak to any small business owner, they'll say that recruitment and dealing with staff and employees is probably the hardest part of running any business. So as bookkeepers, what can you guys possibly do to help them with that issue? Well, if you happen to catch David Taylor's article celebrating the 50th anniversary of the IAB and the upcoming awards, you'll see that he mentioned the role of the bookkeeper is changing. Now, business owners are now looking to their bookkeeper more than ever for support in almost all areas of their working lives, sometimes even in their personal lives too, as I found out when we were doing the judging. And I often say that bookkeepers seem to feel like they're offering a counselling and relationship service these days for their clients. Now, I actually said to David that I believe that bookkeepers are becoming more like business consultants. They're providing access to alternative solutions and services across all areas of the business operation, not just in bookkeeping. Now, in the current economic climate, for you guys, it's all about adding value. It's about giving service to your clients and tackling issues that your clients face in their business lives that make a difference. Now, I was very honoured to have been asked to obviously judge the Bookkeepers Award this year, and it was very clear that the finalists that we looked at were very much representative of this shift and this widespread ancillary support for clients rather than just the traditional bookkeeping services. Now, clients tend to have a much deeper relationship with bookkeepers. They see you as a trusted advisor, as someone that they can approach for help and guidance in a variety of business scenarios, and you are always a gateway for them to the help and the support that they need. So I bet you're thinking, how on earth can insurances possibly help in terms of attracting and retaining staff? It's a very valid question, but let's look at it the simplest way we can, right? If employees have to pay for insurances themselves at home, it's going to cost them money out of their own pocket. So if their employer pays for it, it can be a big help and it can save them money, which right now is a huge deal. Better still, the benefit only tends to exist whilst the employee works at the firm if it's done this way. So if they leave, they lose it. And that's why we use it as an employee benefit. See, most employees are deeply worried about their financial situation, the cost of living crisis, and specifically what would happen if they couldn't get to work or earn their income, for example. Now, studies have proven, believe it or not, that there is a clear link between money worries and workplace performance. Now, the pandemic and the cost of living crisis have left these employees feeling super vulnerable, and this has been proven to impact employee performance at work. So if you offer financial security to workers, it can improve their performance, positively impact their mental health, and potentially reduce the amount of sick days they have. Now, I often tell business owners that these types of products can be used instead of pay rises, because pay rises can result in the employee paying more tax or losing out on certain state benefits. But if they're saving money, the company's cutting its tax bill, and the employee gets the financial security it needs, this is an absolute win-win to do it this way. So I often say to the staff I speak to, if your boss, it's a really important one, if your boss offered you job security and an income for life, but you had to take a 5% pay cut, would you do it? And typically everyone says yes, because right now, income security is the #1 concern for people. And that's ironically what income protection, which is one of the insurances that we offer, provides people. And best of all, they don't even need to take a 5% pay cut. But this whole concept highlights how much employees value financial security and knowing that they'll be taken care of no matter what. And finally, if a business is looking to grow, these types of benefits can be used to attract really good talent and to differentiate the firm from other job options that individual might have. So employers, like I said, need to be creative if they want to stand out right now. Very quickly, let's explore the impact of financial worries on employees for a moment and really hone in on the problem of why it makes sense for you as a bookkeeper to not only suggest these solutions to your client, but proactively help them to solve this problem. Let me be clear though, for a second, truthfully, it's less about the insurance product, like ignore the product. It's more about what it actually offers the employee, okay? As I said on the previous slide, it's the financial worries that are proven to affect financial performance at work, 41% of employees said that their quality of the work is negatively affected by financial worries. So it's a clear issue. But more interestingly, 51%, that's more than half of employees, look to their employer for support on financial issues. Now, these are quite scary statistics, but highlight not only the problem, but the fact that it's often the employer who the employees turn to for help in this area. Now, employers don't necessarily consider their employees' financial resilience and well-being, but they might find themselves losing staff unnecessarily if they don't. So what can you actually offer your clients in this area? How can we help you guys? Well, if you want to help your clients deal with these concerns, if you want to help your clients deal with these risks and cut their tax bill, you as bookkeepers can proactively suggest the use of employee benefits in the form of insurances to cut tax bills and help the business protect itself from losing key staff. Now, these insurances can be used by your clients as that employee benefit to attract and retain their very best talent. And for you guys, you're bringing valuable solutions and services to your customers that help protect their business and ultimately their bottom line. And that's part of what makes bookkeepers so invaluable. So what are the options that you can offer your clients, just off the top of my head? Right, so let's look at these. There are 3 kind of main types of employee benefit insurances that you can offer, all which provide real tangible benefit to the employee and their family. But most importantly, they provide that financial security and that household resilience I was talking about a minute ago. And they are life insurance, which pays out a lump sum to the employee's next of kin or their family if they die whilst employed by the client. Now, think of it like death in service. That's the best way of describing it. Income protection, probably the most important insurance contract that anyone in Britain can have. It's expensive for individuals, but often very cost effective for businesses. Now, this plan provides sick pay if the employee is injured or can't work. Think of it like a private furlough scheme, as it pays a percentage of their income when they can't work. Yet it's paid for by the business, and it's not just for COVID, it's anything that stops them working. Now, this plan actually offers employees with lifelong financial security. Remember what I said earlier about that 5% pay cut? Well, there you have it. Now, critical or serious illness cover, this is a really sought after benefit because it pays out a lump sum of cash if the employee is diagnosed with a life-changing illness such as cancer, heart attack, stroke, just to name a few. Now, we can offer private health insurance too, which is highly sought after, especially important right now, given what's happening with the NHS and waiting times. But I'd like to focus on these three today, because health insurance provides access to treatment, whereas these three plans provide essential financial support to the employee and the family when things go wrong. So they're highly valuable, and it really benefits putting these in place because it benefits both the employer and the employee. Now, as their bookkeeper, you can suggest these plans to help your clients mitigate these risks of losing important staff whilst helping to cut their tax bill. Win-win. So how does it work? How can you guys work with us and offer these invaluable employee benefits to your client? What's in it for you, other than kudos, of course? Well, in addition to sponsoring this year's Bookkeeper of the Year award, we actually help IAB members earn extra income whilst also doing the right thing for their clients. So we've just received significant investment in company protection from one of the UK's largest financial services networks, and they're currently rolling out a plan to provide regional support to IAB members such as yourselves. So very soon we'll have regional advisors on the ground who come out to see you, support you directly, and help you uncover and understand what kind of cover your clients might need and how you can refer them over. And that's how you can earn a secondary income. Now, this investment means not only will we be able to provide that regional support to you guys, but we'll be able to pay an upfront fee for every referral, even if the client doesn't go ahead with any policies with us. And that means no risk to you. And extra money for you guys, regardless of what happens, which is a bit of a win-win. So key things you need to know about us at Company Protection: we don't charge any fees for our services. We get paid by insurance companies. And we will pay you for every referral you make, no matter if it goes ahead or not. So essentially, the way you've got to think about it is you're getting paid for doing the right thing, making introductions, providing value-added services to your clients, making your clients more robust and financially resilient, and helping them to cut their tax bill, all while earning extra income. What's not to love? If you'd like to know more, I'll put my email address into the chat in a minute, but it's info@companyprotection.co.uk. Get yourself registered with us.
Sorry about that, Matt.
Okay, don't worry, it's not a problem. I just thought there might be a question. And that's pretty much it. I've sort of whistle-stopped through it because I'm conscious of time, but hopefully that made sense to everyone. If there's any questions, by all means, stick them in the chat or drop me an email afterwards.
You know the sick pay, Matt? How long
Yes.
do you have to be off sick before that pays out?
That's a really good question. Let me just come off the screen so you don't have to look at my ugly face anymore. Yeah, long story short, you can set up in a variety of different ways. So we can do it with a short waiting period, which is a couple of weeks, or you can do it for several months. Now, I often encourage business to weigh up the cost and risk scenario. So you kind of like got to look at the compromise. Obviously, the shorter it kicks in, the more expensive the plans are, and the longer it takes to kick in, it's a bit more cost effective.
Right. And for the critical illness, you said about cancer, is that for a curable cancer or just a treatable cancer?
So the quality of the contract depends on which provider we use. So for example, if you go with a very high quality contract like Vitality's one, for example, it's got a very, very broad level of cover. So it covers a variety of illnesses of various different severities. Obviously, the cheaper end of the market is it's got to be quite severe, usually stage 3, stage 4 type cancers. And I'd always encourage you to go for the broader ones, but that's all down to the providers you use.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
No, sorry, Caroline.
I have a few people that can't hear anything, so I'm going to suggest that out of 174 people, 2 people can't hear anything. It's possibly your speakers. Nothing to do with the coffee morning. So yes, thank you, Matt.
No, Matt, that's really, really good. Thank you so much. And I use Matt's services in Women Account, and actually, I was ahead of you. I've referred you on to one of my clients yesterday, so I presume you picked that up because
just booked in with me. I've just had the invitation come through today.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Thank you very much.
But why that came about was they wanted to have a call with me about ways that they could creatively retain staff. So, and I was like, you need to have a chat with Matt. So clearly they haven't chat with you, which is really good. But they really liked that idea. It hadn't occurred to them. And obviously from a business perspective, everyone's conscious of expense at the moment too. So the fact this is tax deductible makes it's an easy, it genuinely is a win-win. So really good service. So big thumbs up, and I love watching your videos on LinkedIn as well. They're quite cool.
Thank you very much.
I'll have to follow you now on LinkedIn, Matt. I shall seek you out. Right, so moving on this morning, we're moving to Sam. I think Sam and Sarah. Are you there, Sam?
I am here, yes.
Yes.
I am.
Excellent.
Yes,
I hear you've got something exciting.
we have got something exciting. So I don't know, many of you saw on the reminder email that came out an hour before the coffee morning is that we've got a new partnership announcement, and we wanted to share the details with you on this coffee morning. So I'm just going to share my screen, Caroline, if I'm allowed. Yes.
Yeah, should be able to.
There we go. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Excellent.
see it.
So, I'd also like to say, Jane Ryan, are you around?
Oh, I am here. Yes, hello.
Hello,
Good
Jane.
morning.
So, yeah, we're really pleased to announce that we are embarking upon a new partnership with the Your Right Hand finance team. Jane Ryan is from Your Right Hand. I'm not too sure whether many of you have heard of Your Right Hand or are familiar with them. But the partnership starts as of now, which is great. And we just wanted to give you a little bit of detail on what it's all about. So I'm just going to do a bit of an intro, and then I'm going to hand over to Jane because she's best placed to talk you through it. But the partnership is very much a partnership born out of insight. So we're really pleased to announce this as we feel that it really addresses the needs of some of our members. So we've seen a bit of an increase in members leaving self-employment due to the stresses of running their own business. And I think, you know, the presentations that we've had this morning from Kevin and from Matt kind of like identify lots of pressures in the marketplace today. And clearly some of our members who work for themselves are also feeling it. And Your Right Hand provide a solution in that they offer part-time senior bookkeepers and also financial controllers. They offer their services to businesses, so they basically hook them up with businesses that would need their support. So it takes the stress out of, I suppose, client management, going out there and recruiting business. It takes that stress, one of the many benefits, but it takes that stress away from it. So in a nutshell, I suppose the crux of the partnership is that we want to offer a solution to our members who are struggling being self-employed, because we want to keep you in the industry. We want to keep high quality professionals in the industry, and obviously keep you as members of the IAB, so we can work with you and help to kind of like grow and support you through your career. Your Right Hand offer access to the benefit of for Your Right Hand is they can offer through the IAB partnership access to really high quality professionals, our members, and it helps them to resource their business. So it gives them a pipeline of potential people and candidates that they're interested in joining their team. Throughout this, when we were working on the partnership, Sarah has obviously been heavily involved working with Jane and her team. And Sarah has been on the induction course, which Jane will tell you a little bit about, and the training that's provided. And we've been through that process, and we fully endorse the training and the procedures that Your Right Hand offers. Sarah, I don't know if you want to give a bit of a snapshot on your experience, on your days that you spent.
Yeah, no, so it was two or 3 days. I know I dipped in and out of a few of the meetings, but it was really, really comprehensive training. A lot about communication with clients, and a really clear expectation of how you would work. So you'd retain your independent status, but in effect, really, Your Right Hand takes away the problem of marketing and bringing in new clients that you can work with. So there's that wraparound support. I thought it was a really, well, we wouldn't be going forward if I didn't approve of what you're doing. Ethics very much aligned with us, and just a really strong offering to our clients, and the support for those, I suppose, support for members that would be working in the team. So yeah, no, I was quite impressed. So back over to you, Jane.
Well, Jane, I'll go over to you so you can tell everyone a little bit about Your Right Hand.
Yeah, sure. So hi everybody, good morning. Thank you for having me on your coffee morning. And I say your coffee morning, but I'm actually a member of the IAB and have been for many years. So I'm quite a keen supporter and advocate of the IAB. And you can see on screen, I gave Sam quite a lot of text about us, but let me just tell you kind of in words about us. So we established in 2007. We cover many regions across the UK. We're hoping to kind of get national. We do have people in Scotland. We do have people in Cornwall. So most regions are now covered. And our main purpose is to help SME business owners be more successful and feel happier. And I always think we're a little bit unusual because we do talk about feelings. Sarah was talking about communication, that being really key. So I think that makes us a little bit different. How do we do this? We do this by professionalizing our clients' accounting functions. And how can we do that? by providing qualified professional finance people just like you're on the call today. So as Sab mentioned, all of our finance people are subcontractors, so you remain within your own accountancy business. And our solution is ideal if you have perhaps 2 or 3 days a week free that you're looking to fill with client work. So why would you want to come and work with us? There are 2 main reasons. Sam gave you the first big one. You know, you're finance people, you're not sales or marketing professionals. You want to spend your time doing the finance work. So this is where we can really help you out. We can find clients, they remain YRH clients, but we put you in contact with them and we remain within that relationship as well, giving you support so that if any difficulties come up, you have support from us centrally. And that's the second big reason people join us. They want the support. So we can offer technical support. We've got like an all-out email address. So if you have any technical queries, you can ask the all-out, and you've got over 100 people within the company who've probably got an answer for you there. We have regional team meetings, we have annual conferences. I mentioned the regional partner who can help you if you've got any client issues. We also provide what we call a buddy, so someone who will help you when you first start, to help you get into a way of working successfully. But probably best not just to hear it from me. So I'm hoping that one of our principals, Harry, who is also an IAB member, is also on the call today. Harry, if you're there, will you give me a hello?
Hi, Jane.
Hey, Harry, how you doing?
Good, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. I'm impressed you've worked out how to blur your background, which I did not manage to do before the call today. I feel slightly incompetent there, so good job. So Harry's worked with us for quite a few years now. So I thought it'd just be good to hear from him how he's found his experience joining us. So what did you think? How did you find joining YRH, Harry?
Well, the initial onboarding process, I think it would be fair to say, is quite thorough. But that's only a good thing because YRH makes sure that we know exactly what we're doing. And it also gives us then a lot of confidence in our own abilities because they obviously can see that we are qualified, we know what we're talking about. And then the few days of training that they give us, as has been mentioned by Samantha and Sarah, they're very useful when you join. So yeah, I appreciate those too.
Fantastic, thank you. And I should mention, we also provide kind of ongoing training. So when things like the IR35 guidelines changed, we did some webinars and Q&As on that kind of thing. So what kind of clients do you work with? People are probably quite interested to know what kind of clients we provide.
Yeah, sure. So currently I work with a couple of different estate agents, as well as an architect. But previous clients have included an importer of artificial plants. Another company was an exporter of fertilizer and seeds to Western African countries. So there's a great variety. So that's just a few examples, but yeah, they really do vary.
Excellent. And what do you most enjoy about working with us?
Well, I do like that variety of clients and the fact that I don't have to search for them myself, but also the flexibility that YRH provides, allowing you to decide your own schedule, is also great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should mention, we do ask people to be able to put in a full 7.5-hour day. So we're not doing kind of school hours, but you know, the number of days per week that you want to work with us is absolutely down to you. So that flexibility is really helpful. So is there anything, Harry, that you think IAB members should watch out for or be aware of if they're thinking of joining us?
Or just be ready to adjust to what's been called the YRH way. Obviously, we're working with their clients, so there's certain processes that YRH expects us to put into place, but honestly, they're all there to provide the best service for each client. So again, it's only a good thing.
Excellent. Thanks, Harry. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. Back over to you, Sam.
Thank you. So thanks, Harry. It's really insightful. So what's next? More detail will become available in the June newsletter. So as many of you probably noticed, the newsletter tends to go out post coffee morning, and I do a little bit of a recap. So I'll drop some info in there. There'll also soon to be a Your Right Hand presence on our website and vice versa. There'll probably be a flyer going out after this too, with a little bit more detail on, so do watch out for that. Jane's asked me to say there's also, if you want to have a bit of an informal chat to get more information, then we can send this out, and I'll pop this in the chat probably, Caroline, but you can email the team over at Your Right Hand, and they can book some time in with you to have a chat as to, you know, whether this is the right thing for you, or, you know, you can get some more detail. But I don't know if anyone has any questions, but we just wanted to hot off the press, so we just wanted to share it all with you.
There's no questions going into the chat. I've got Kevin's phone number of 07905 61186, and then a website, pecunia2016.co.uk. And then Matt's also put his email in at info@companyprotection.co.uk. And then I've just got some thank yous. Katie says, what is the pay range? Jane, I think that's a question for you.
Yeah, so we do have a bit of a London waiting. If you give us a contact to join us at, we can go through all of the details of the pay with you.
Right, so maybe follow that up, Katie, after the coffee morning. Mark's put in the website of yourrighthand.co.uk, and then Sam's put join us at yourrighthand.co.uk. Yeah, thank you, that would be very helpful. And then yeah, just a lot of thank yous coming in.
Good.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
no, I'm quite excited about the partnership. I just think it gives another opportunity to our members. So just always looking for ways to help. So I feel really excited.
Can I just interrupt you, Sarah? Yeah. Jennifer's put a question in. Can bookkeepers choose a sector of clients who they want to work with?
So when you come on board, the last stage of interview is with your regional partner, and you can let them know the types of industries that you'd like to work with, and they'll try and match you up. It may not be that we find those opportunities, and if you know you've been with us 3 or 4 months and that's not working out, maybe we decide it's not the right kind of partnership. But yes, you can certainly say, I don't want to work in schools, for example, and we won't offer you a school client.
Right. And then Sarah Prince has said, is there a charge for joining you?
No. But we do expect you to have Microsoft 365. We do expect you to have your insurances all up to date. And we do expect you to be registered with the ICO.
Right. It should be that anyway, shouldn't you, really?
Absolutely.
Working with the IAB.
So.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and as a subcontractor, you'll also still required to have your AML supervision, won't you, Jane?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So we can help there.
Lovely.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we are on countdown for next week. So Janet, do you want to just mention the awards? Seeing as that's all we're talking about in the office at the moment.
Yeah, I feel quite privileged because I know who the winners are. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to them. It's as normal. It was phenomenal listening to everybody. And as Matt's already been on and said about the judging, it was brilliant this year. I always think it won't get any better, but every year it gets better. Really looking forward to it being at the House of Lords, so we moved down a terrace, so that should be nice, and we're hoping the weather will hold for us again. So looking forward to seeing you all there, and good luck to all the finalists.
Yeah, no,
right, I am open to bribery, clearly. To one on that, but you know. Oh, just one thing I do want to mention is like, so I just saw on a Canteen Web, I think it was, or it was Corona Eye, one of them put a headline out today about ACIEW. The CEO is stepping down, retiring or whatever, and he's expected to get a 6-figure bonus as a departing gift. And I was like, seriously? That's
Wow.
members' money. I just find it disgusting. But anyway, I just when it comes around to my turn, I will not be getting a 6-figure sum. Or anything for that matter.
That's nice to know, Janet.
I thought, I kind of found it a bit unbelievable. I'm thinking, surely that's not ethically right. But anyway, I hope he pays his tax on everything.
No, he'll probably find a way around that.
I'm sure they will.
If he's willing to take that, he'll probably find his way around it.
Yeah.
There we go. Mark said, does that include the decimal point? Yeah, I doubt it, Mark.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the last 30 seconds, have you got anything from the HMRC, Sarah? Or
the only thing I have is that obviously, as we've probably read in the press now, HMRC have shut their self-assessment helpline for 3 months. So everything's been pushed digital, which I'm not entirely, don't think it's a great idea, especially as the week before they were promoting everybody submitting their self-assessments early to avoid the 31st of January rush. But anyway, it's a trial, and their rationale is that it takes people off the phone lines, that they can actually process the applications and process the work in the background. So anyway, it's a test. The lines open on the 4th of September again, but there's digital, support, web support, chat support, that kind of thing as usual. But yeah, let's see how that goes. But that was it.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Too many tax forms to go through, you see, so they're short staffed.
yeah, well, I just thought it
Everybody
was badly timed with the P11Ds being filed in July. I wanted to go more digital with that too, but there we go.
That's all right. Right then, so the next meeting is the 12th of July at 11 a.m. Unfortunately, I won't be here on the 12th of July, so I shall see you all in August.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Look forward
Thank
to
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.